One day, which will come far too soon for my tastes, we will look back on the good old days. Some people will fixate on particular incidents. Wedding day, birth of a child, or that time we went cow tipping. Old man Potter started firing off rounds with his shotgun, and Carter peed himself while we ran for our lives. Good old Carter and his leaky bladder. As for me, I tend to look back on periods of time. Like that time I used to have a YouTube channel with thousands of subs. Hopefully, I'm not looking back at the good old days starting tomorrow. So if I say something that upsets you, and I may, before you report me, be a sport and remember that I fairly warned you. Viewers' discretion is advised. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Viewers Discretion. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I know you think I'm late. I know you think I'm late, but it's not that I was just spaziering around and doing nothing. No. I was working for you, the good people of internet land. Really specifically YouTube folks. Not going to kid you. Really specifically YouTube folks. And you want to know what I was doing for you? Yeah, I'll show you. I got proof. I got receipts. I'm going to show you what I was working on. Yeah, because I don't want people thinking, oh, Joe's not, what's that? What's Joe doing? I don't even know what Joe's doing. Yeah, this is me trying to create emojis for you fine YouTube folks. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. That's what I was working on. I even had like a whole thing I'm working on here. A whole thing. I had working on it. Yeah. See? This is it right here. There's me trying to upload emojis, trying to get it to work. Oh, but what happens? What happened? Why? I don't see any emojis, Joe. Why are there no emojis? What's happening here? Oh, image aspect ratio must be 1:1. How do I do that? I don't know. This is something that a 9-year-old, I'm sure, could figure out in about 30 seconds. But for me, no. I actually had a whole series of these different images that I was like, you know what? I'm going to shock the world. They're going to be like, oh my God, Joe finally got emojis. Why is Joe the only channel which has literally 100,000 subs, podcast streams every single day, and has 0 emojis? This is why. Right there. It's not for a lack of effort. No, it's not a lack of effort. I just can't figure this sort of stuff out. There you go. So I spent the last half hour just basically trying to figure out, all right, if I make it a PNG instead of a JPEG, if I try cutting it down this way, I can't even tell you. All these different things. Tried. The effort was there. We tried. I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah. I apologize. I'm sorry. Ooh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I suck. Okay? I do. I recognize it. Chat, squirrels on the barbecue. Yes, we ensured it was dead this time. The bushfire caused by an inflamed squirrel jumping off the barbecue won't happen again. Okay. All right. I'm going to share something with you. That was in the arsenal. Yeah. I had a squirrel that I was going to. This is another thing they just didn't let me take. Nope, you can't have that, Joe. That was going to be my squirrel. No, I can't. It's not 1:1. I don't know how to make it 1:1. So there you go. But bushfire closed on flame squirrel jumping on the barbecue won't happen again. That's a relief. Joe, are we cooked tomorrow? Oh, you're talking about Japan and the stock market crashing? Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. On the bright side, whenever there's that tsunami that comes in Japan before when the stock market is closed, decent chance that the stock exchange will basically be closed like the first like they'll open for like 10 minutes and then like, all right, we're closed. Okay, we're closed. Okay, we're closed. We're just closed. We're closed. Y'all chill out. Y'all chill out. Y'all chill out for like a few hours. I'm putting you in a corner. That's what they do when the stock market starts tanking in order to stop from there being like another depression. They got these little stopgaps in there that are just like, whoa, easy fella, easy big guy. So yeah, but I was actually thinking like probably right now, tomorrow the markets are going to all open just way down. That probably will hurt Kamala in the short term. I understand conceptually what it is. Prosper. And I know you're trying to help me. So I'm not like, I don't want to be like snarky. I'm not being snarky at you. It's more, I feel like I'm being snarky at myself, but I realize when I do that, people think I'm being snarky at them. No, I understand. That. The problem is that when I'm trying to make something with PhotoShop, sorry, PowerPoint, not Photoshop, PowerPoint. When I'm trying to use PowerPoint, I don't know how to, when I tried doing with PowerPoint, so they have a thing here. I made this in aspect ratio. See, crop aspect ratio. There you go. And then when I did that, so now crop aspect ratio. I don't know what to do here. What do you want from me? That looks 1-to-1. I think it's 1-to-1. So is that 1-to-1? But they don't seem to take it as being 1-to-1 because they're looking at the whole thing, this whole thing here, instead of just the 1-to-1. And I don't know how to cut out this part. That's the problem I have, if you're wondering. But I'm sure someone's going to walk me through it, or more likely, someone would just be like, Jesus, Joe, I'll just do it for you. Be like faster and trying to walk you through it. That's invariably what happens. Is someone might check gets mad at me, and they're like, here, and then I'm like, oh, thank you, you're awesome. So I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. We'll see. All right. Anyhow. Yeah, let's get into. I basically spent like the last 40 minutes just trying to figure out how to, like, looking up different like potential leaders. I was thinking about using Anton LaVey. I almost had that, and I was like, I end up there. But I'm telling you, I've been working. I was working. That's all I'm doing. And then I was like, oh, damn it, I gotta start a show. I'm late. All right. Why don't we start with first things first? Every time I see Byron Donalds, every time I see this guy, I like him more. Every single time, I like him more and more and more. This guy is amazing. A little more light. I like him more and more and more and more. This guy is amazing. His interview with George Stephanopoulos was fire. And I'm sure many of you saw it because, look, it's a long weekend and you're going to stumble on stuff even in my absence. Shame on you. But this is something I just want to break down, just how well he handles. This is so much harder in the moment than you can really appreciate. And he's become such a pro, really a pro. Let's check this out. George Stephanopoulos, a lunatic.
Just bring in Republican Congressman and Trump ally Byron Donalds. Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. Why is former President Trump questioning the vice president's racial identity?
What?
Well, first, George, in Chicago, he was responding to a question from, I believe, Rachel Scott. Like, this is really a phony controversy. I don't really care. Most people don't. But if we're going to be accurate, when Kamala Harris went into the United States Senate, it was AP that said she was the first Indian American United States senator. It was actually played up a lot when she came into the Senate. Now she's running nationally. Obviously, the campaign has shifted. They're talking much more about her father's heritage and her Black identity. It doesn't really matter. The president mentioned it. What he also talks about far more frequently is the fact that Kamala Harris is the person who created this massive inflation, which is destroying Black families, white families, Hispanic families. It's her failure as border czar that has left our southern border wide open, more than 10 million illegal immigrants coming into our country, record fentanyl coming into our country, which has killed more Americans than at any other point in the history of our country with respect specifically to fentanyl. And the fact that—
listen to his answer. His whole answer here is going on about all the flawed policies. And he's like, look, it was a quick answer he gave there, which, you know, the AP had issues with saying she's Indian. But, you know, no one cares. And here's a list of things that people care about. I'm going to talk to you about this for 5 minutes. Or for, like, you know, the next 60 seconds.
She and Joe Biden have unleashed one of the worst foreign policies in the history of our country that has us on the verge of World War III. That is Kamala Harris's record. President Trump talks about that frequently. But yes, he did mention it in Chicago in response to a question from Rachel Scott.
And you just—
there you go. He's like, he's not making an issue. Rachel Scott making an issue. Rachel Scott asked the whole thing, is she a DEI hire? And he's like, I don't know, she's Black. Yeah, what do you want from me? I don't know. Who the hell is she? She doesn't. AP didn't say she was Black. I don't know. I mean, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. We heard all about her. She's the first Indian senator. So here's the thing. You know, they get all up in arms. For people who are very excited that DEI is a great thing, they seem to get very up in arms about the phrase DEI hire. Why would that be? DEI is such a wonderful thing. It's an amazing thing. Why are you getting all bothered by the phrase DEI hire? Why? Why would you be bothered by that? If DEI is the blessing for America and it shows how great America is, so in that case, you should be very proud that she's labeled a DEI hire. She's everything that America is all about. So I don't know why it is that they get, why are you so bothered? Why bothered by it? You should be very proud. Embrace it. Yes, she's a DEI hire. Yes. Embrace it. Totally embrace it. Be proud of it. Because DEI is such a great thing. If it's a terrible thing, why are you trying to foist it on America?
just repeated the slur again. If it doesn't matter, why do you all keep questioning her identity?
What slur? How is it a slur? What is a slur?
She's always identified as a Black woman. She is biracial.
Nope.
She has a Jamaican father and an Indian mother. She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
No, she hasn't. No, she hasn't. Her father, who's the Black side of her heritage, never identifies as being Black. He identifies as being Caucasian. Now, they keep trying to conflate, and this is what Stephanopoulos does the entire time. He keeps trying to conflate the word Jamaican with Black, which is ridiculous. As I tweeted out today, that's like conflating American with white. It's equally stupid. It's just not reality. So you're saying everyone in Jamaica is Black? Everyone in Jamaica is Black? What the hell does that even mean? Jamaica's a country. It's not a race.
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media right now. There were a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue,
sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
Of the United States.
What did he do again? Let's listen to his words. I don't know what he just did again. He said, I didn't know Jamaican father and is biracial. Why does that make it biracial?
She's always identified as both. Why are you questioning that?
Well, George, first of all, this is something that's actually a conversation throughout social media.
He's saying it's a conversation through social media. Did he even say she's not Black? No.
Right now, there were a lot of people who are trying to figure this out. But again, that's a side issue, not the main issue. The main issue,
sir, 1 second. You just did it. You just did it again.
No, he didn't.
Why do you insist on questioning her racial identity?
You want me to talk?
I want you to answer my question.
Look at how professional Byron is here. He's like, you want to talk or you want me to talk? If you want to talk, I don't know what you're having me on here for.
Yelling at George, now that you're done yelling at me, let me answer. He talked about it on the stage yesterday in Atlanta for what, 2 minutes? He spent more than 35, 40 minutes going after her record, talking about how radical of a senator that she was. She was the most liberal senator in the United States, in the United States Senate. That is a fact. He talked about the job that she did as vice president of the United States, a job, I will add, which has been a failure for the American people. I know you guys like to glom on to this that he talks about in jest or in a serious manner for about a minute or so, but what you do not cover is the litany of failures of Kamala Harris. That's what you're not covering, George.
So questioning somebody's racial identity for a couple minutes is okay?
When it's not her racial identity, yeah. Yeah. They're trying to make it like a birtherism thing. That's what they're trying to do. They're desperately trying to make this a whole birtherism thing. Like that's what they're like. There we go. We're gonna get him on this one and show he's a racist. And it's like, if she were black, no one would care. It's just not true.
George, I'm gonna tell you again. He brought it up. AP is the one that wrote the headline when she first came in to the United States Senate. Didn't talk about her being black, talked about her being the first Indian American senator. AP brought that up. I mean, George, we could have this conversation for the entire segment, but none of this matters to the American people. What matters to the American people is, are we going to have the same policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has been destructive of the American people? Or are we going to have the policies of the Trump administration, which put America first, had low inflation, prosperous Americans, no matter your race, no matter your color, no matter your creed, and a foreign policy that kept America safe? Those are the facts that truly matter, because this issue is going to come and go. The lives of the American people is what's going to remain. And that's what matters more than anything else.
All he's hitting on here: policy, 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 policy. Where's George Stephanopoulos going to go back? He's been the first 3.5 minutes talking about this. Where's he going to go now?
If it doesn't matter, I don't understand why you keep on repeating it, why the president keeps on repeating it, why those introducing the president yesterday
George, actually, I'm not the one who keeps repeating it. George, you're the one that's bringing it up now. That's
you've done it.
I understand why
sir,
you've done it.
You've done it 3 times. Every single answer.
No, 3 times he's refused to accept your lie, your ridiculous lie. And you basically demanding that the irony of a white person demanding that a black person accept that she's black. I mean, who the flip do you think you are, Steffi? I don't understand.
You gave me. Now let me finish, sir.
George,
every single answer you gave, you repeated the slur.
Asked me, George. That's why I'm pushing back on you now. George, you asked me the question 3 times. I responded, but
and every single time you repeat the slur. That is exactly my point.
What is the slur? She's not black is now a slur? I don't even understand what this means. She's not black is a slur? That's a slur? If he says she's white, that's a slur? This is the first time that the media says calling someone white is a slur. I don't understand what this means. What the hell does this mean? Saying she's not black, that's a slur. What the hell? Tell me one other time in history you remember anyone else saying that calls not black. Anyone in the media ever say, wow, call him not black. That's pretty heavy slur right there. That's a pretty freaking heavy slur. Can't believe you had the balls to do that. Wow. You should be shunned. You should be shunned. Unbelievable.
You simply can't say that it's wrong.
George, and I want to get off this topic because it's not the only thing that's going on. But George, now you're saying that AP is the one that slurred Kamala Harris, because those are the facts. You can go to the internet and look at the clips, George, if you want to, or we can talk about this now. I prefer to talk about the future of our country, because the American people are struggling. The American people do need serious policy decisions to be made, and they need serious leadership on the world stage. Kamala Harris has not proven that she can do that. Donald J. Trump has proven that he can do that.
AP did not say that Kamala Harris is not black. She is biracial.
They said she's Indian. Why would they call her Indian if she wasn't?
She is Indian. She is black. You continue to repeat the fact that you continue to repeat the slur. I don't understand why you and the president do it, but it's clear you're not going to say that it's wrong. And you've now established that for our.
Well, it's good. It's good. It took you 5 minutes to figure out that he's establishing that when he only said the same thing 6 times. And he's like, look, I'll tell you right now. I'm not the one who first introduced this. Trump is not the first one to introduce this. AP did it. Every time when she won, it was like first Indian senator, first Indian senator, first Indian senator. That's what everyone was saying. They're all excited. First Indian senator. All of a sudden now she's black. We can't figure out how she is. You still can't figure out how she is. Jamaican is not black.
Our audience. Trump also said at the convention that he would pardon January 6 rioters.
Everybody look for themselves. Let's move on.
I've already said that. Go ahead.
Internet, everybody. Let's move on. There we go.
Apparently, saying that someone isn't black now is a slur. I guess Biden was slurring millions of African Americans who voted for Trump. That was a slur. That's much more of a slur.
Go on and repeat the slurs again. Trump also said at the convention he would pardon January 6 rioters who assaulted police officers. Do you support that?
Actually, what he said is that he was going to review every single case. He even repeated that again in Chicago at the NABJ. Listen, what we do understand is that the Department of Justice under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they did massively push up charges on people who protested at the Capitol and some who rioted at the Capitol on January 6th. So what he's talking about is doing a case-by-case review. You can lump it all together all you want, but those are the words of Donald J. Trump. I'm quite sure on the internet, people can pull up that clips. They can watch it at their own leisure.
I'll read it.
Now, to be fair with you, I didn't like the way he phrased it because at first he did imply he was going to, there was an implication there. And then he ended up saying if they're innocent, which is what's going to come up now. But he did imply at first, and I was like, oh, this is not the way to word it. He's got to word this better. But Byron Donalds does a good job here of basically highlighting the positive way that Trump said it on second expression.
To you right now, this was Rachel Scott's question. My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers. Would you pardon those people? Oh, absolutely, I would. That's his words.
Yes, but you did not leave in was the rest of his comments where he said, yeah, I would, but we want to look at everything on a case-by-case basis. That's what will happen, George.
No, that's not what he said. He said if they were innocent, I would pardon them. They've all been convicted. He said he would pardon those who assaulted police officers. Do you support that or not?
George, you just changed the soundbite. You just changed it. Now you added, if they're innocent, then I will pardon them. Let's go back to the record of January 6th. Again, not something that
I didn't change the soundbite. That's exactly what he said. They've been convicted.
George, the first thing you said was, yes, I'll pardon them. Then you expanded.
And he said that.
Say, if they are innocent, then yes, I will. That's what you said, George. Now I'm responding. Okay. So what he's saying is that, yeah, I will go and look at these cases. If they're innocent, yes, I will. Of course, if somebody was beating up a police officer at January 6th, he's not going to do that. But if you had people who were just walking through the Capitol, which did occur on January 6th, because the security protocols had changed because of that riot at the Capitol, then what he would do is not allow them to be held in jail with these massively increased charges by the current U.S. attorney in D.C. under the Biden-Harris administration. Compare that to the fact that at the rally that the riots that just occurred at Union Station when Bibi Netanyahu was speaking to Congress, you had the same U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia who decided to just let people go and not file any charges, even though they were defacing monuments at Union Square. So we want to be fair with the justice system. We don't want to be political with the justice system.
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers. Would you pardon those people? Donald Trump. Oh, absolutely, I would. You wouldn't pardon those? If they were innocent, I would pardon them. That is the entire quote. They are not innocent. They are convicted. He said,
if innocent. So now you're saying they're convicted. First of all, not all of them are convicted. That's just not true. Second of all, convicted doesn't mean they're not innocent.
That he would pardon them.
And George, what I'm telling you is he's going to go back and look at these cases because it is without a doubt. And look, January 6th is a very painful memory in our country, but it is without a doubt that the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia was supercharging these people because of political viewpoints. Because you had other riots that have occurred in Washington, D.C., where the charges were minimized or dismissed altogether. That is not an even-handed system of justice. That is a politically motivated system of justice. And you don't have to look any further than the difference between how the Department of Justice has treated Donald Trump versus how the Department of Justice has treated Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
What he is talking about is equal enforcement of the law, not picking and choosing because of your politics.
I would remind you that this Department of Justice actually indicted Hunter Biden, the president's son.
Specifically so that you would say that. That's the only reason why. Specifically so that you, George Stephanopoulos, and your ilk would say that. You see, they're fair. You see, they're fair.
And of course, we were talking about assaults
Only
on police
after they
officers,
didn't have a
people
choice.
who were convicted for assaults on police officers, which the president has said he would pardon them.
No, he hasn't. No, he didn't. He did not say that. He said they're innocent. You're such a ridiculously stupid gaslighter. But Byron Donalds here did a great job of not giving into any inch of that gaslighting.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for being a complete jackass, George Stephanopoulos. Sloppy reporter. Intentionally sloppy reporter. That's what's so gross about it. Lilies, Joe, time for the Florida primary vote. For vote in primary, you said you'd help. I did say that many months ago. Senator, should I keep Rick Scott, Congressman, congressional rep, keep Kat Kamek, or choose Alex Stevens? State rep Chad Johnson or Remy Eagle? Remy Eagle Glenn. Okay. I'm very flattered you're asking me this question. I'll tell you right now. I need to look at this. So let me just. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget otherwise. I'll remember the Rick Scott issue. I actually pulled this up. It's not till the 20th. It's not. I have till August 20th to give you some guidance on this. So, I mean, I'm not a huge Rick Scott fan. I need to look into John Columbus versus Keith Gross and Rick Scott and see what the deal is with that. Now, you also say you want me to check up. You also want me to check up Kamek or Alex Stevens. All right, what was the last one? It was. I'm not going to give you an answer tonight, but I'm going to try and look into it for you. Chad Johnson. Let's see. Ocho Cinco. Amy Eagle Glenn. I'll try looking into this for you. Okay, I can't do it now, but I'll try looking into it and getting back to you. So, give me a week. Give me a week, but yeah, I apologize for not getting that to you. You can hit me up on locals and ask me to do it there. You don't have to like super chat. I was going to open a fixing for you until I saw a squirrel with disrespect, but I'll still do it for you or walk you through if you want. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. I would appreciate it. The point isn't her ethnicity, it's that she's lying about purely for political reasons. Father's Indian, Irish, according to Judge Brown. I don't think I've never heard her say she's black. It's the media that's saying it for her. George doesn't realize the Kamala's ethnicity is a briar patch issue for Democrats. Bringing it up amplifies it with blacks suspicious of Kamala. Yeah, I don't think it's really helping them. I don't think they're so desperate to they're trying to cow the GOP into you don't want to walk down this path. You don't want to walk down this path. You don't. And it's like, I don't want Trump to walk down this path, but everyone else to bring it up, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Trump should not be making it his issue, but I think everyone. I'm happy to bring it up. I'm totally happy to bring it up. I don't want him bringing it up. if that makes any sense. I just don't want it to be like the focus of everything here. Leslie Sorensen found Joe by accident. Glad I did. Oh, thank you. And I remember for 4 months. 4 months. He's second trimester here. God bless. We're gonna cover Planned Parenthood, so that's why I got trimesters on the brain. I got trimesters on the brain. All right. That was the first story I wanted to share with you. But let's go over into we're gonna move over from that back and forth, is she black, to Piers Morgan and company having a whole debate. We're not going to watch the entire debate. It's 15 minutes of debate, but I am going to watch Officer Tatum and his breakdown of it. I watched the first 5 minutes of this, 7 minutes of this, and it seems pretty good. But I want to break down for you the strengths and weaknesses of different folks here as we watch them debate. And this is Piers Morgan with Cenk Uygur, a creepy dude, a redhead libertarian, and Officer Tatum. So, without further ado, I don't know why they keep bringing creepy dude back.
The Republicans are the ones that want to ban abortion. Why don't you be honest about it?
Section get you one of these. Yeah, I wanted a comfort.
All right, Officer.
It shows the Democrats have pivoted their focus from whining to winning, and smearing both Trump and his supporters as grubby weirdos is the new coordinated line of attack.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start. That's just the start.
Notice how that guy has like some sort of sore on his lip. This commercial. It's so desperate. So desperate because it's like, so wait, are these actually Republicans, you think, or are they Democrats who are starring in a commercial for Kamala?
If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
I mean, this guy looks inbred. I mean, they definitely got him on purpose. And it's like, I wonder if they told these freaks that it's like, yeah, so we're going to have you, we want to make you, like, we'll play up your level of freakiness. They had to have told them that, right? I mean, they need to have their motivation when they're doing the commercial.
Way more involved.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
Well, the problem with Democrats on this point in particular is that they can be pretty weird themselves, not least in that video montage we just watched.
See, Piers Morgan notices it also. He's like, you think that's working for you? To like make it seem as if like that's really what Republicans are. Is that really working for you? All right.
But also as evidenced by Harris supporters at campaign events so far this week.
You don't mess with childless cat ladies.
Good evening, folks. My name is Charlotte Clymer. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a writer and activist, and I am so excited to be part of this historic gathering of women across the country.
Amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized and use the privilege you have.
I think it's funny that Piers chose this clip that I showed last week of this woman who's creepy. And she's like supposed to be like the ideal. She's the social media influencer.
In order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
I stood over my kid's bed and I wept. I wept because I felt like I let them down. I wept because they had the chance and we had the chance to have a female president for the first time.
I mean, tell you, anyone who was looking at the Haagen-Dazs box that was in his house is weeping also. My God.
In our lives and in the history of this nation.
All very normal people doing and saying very normal things. To coin a phrase, there are very weird people on both sides. The more important point is that we now have a race with very clearly defined parameters. There are now two candidates who seem likely to survive until November, and they both have very different visions for the future of the country. The speed with which the media and the Democratic establishment has thrown its weight behind Kamala Harris is, of course, cynical and pretty nauseating, especially as we know that Biden only clung on for so long because he personally doubted that Kamala could win. I understand the anger in conservative quarters, how quickly the calamities and cover-up have been forgotten. But the fact is that Kamala Harris is the candidate, and the polls are narrowing fast. If Republicans want to regain their advantage, they've got to flip the script again. Less whining and more winning. Well, joining me now is the co-founder of Young Turks, Cenk Uygur, from the Red-Headed Libertarian, Josie Glayback, streamer Destiny, and from the Officer Tatum podcast, Brandon Tatum. Welcome to all of you. Cenk Uygur, this whole thing about weirdness, are Democrats in a great place to lecture people about being weird, given how weird so many Democrats are?
Yes, they are. First of all, the people that you showed in the weird montage for Democrats is someone dressed up, someone who's transgender, and someone who cries too much.
What about Destiny? Is he in the weird montage? He could be in the weird montage. That's not weird. I mean, seriously. He's trying to write this off as like those are the exceptions. Yeah. Don't tell me how all these people being brought into the White House is like makes it like the freakiest people that they intentionally bring into the White House, that's not reflective of weirdness.
Okay, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm not offended by it.
No one's offended by it.
Most importantly, not policy.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. Promoting grooming kids for your trans agenda, that's policy. That's exactly what policy is.
And when J.D. Vance says that people who have more kids should be able to vote more, and he constantly attacks people without children.
All right, can someone find me that clip? I've never seen him say people who have more kids should be able to vote more. I don't even understand what that means. I don't understand how that would manifest.
Look, you can call it weird, you can call it anything you like, but it is way outside the bounds of normal policy matters, and it gets into controlling our lives from the guys who pretended that they were against big government.
I don't think so. So abortion was never banned. What they did, they returned it to the states, which is the way that it should have been the whole time. Roe v. Wade was legislated. Roe v. Wade was legislated from the bench, which is unconstitutional. So what Dobbs did is it just handed it back to the states, and it told Congress, if you can write a law, then we'll legislate this law. Or if you can legislate this law, then we're going to rule on this law and tell you if this law is constitutional. So they handed it back to Congress, handed it back to the states. Congress tried to pass.
They didn't really hand it back to Congress. I actually think that the implication is that that if Congress even passed a law, the implication is there's a really good chance that Dobbs would say, that's not constitutional, it's up to the states.
A law to codify abortion, and it failed. So it's still in the hands of Congress. If they want to write a law to codify abortion, then they can, but they haven't successfully done that yet. So until they do, it's back in the hands of the states.
Okay, Destiny,
because Republicans have blocked it.
Yeah, that's right. Republicans have blocked it on a national level. Thank God. I mean, first of all, they didn't successfully block it, in that it's not like there was an application. I'm not aware of an application that came up before Republicans anytime in the last 50 years. So on the federal level, and they should block it if it comes up, because it's not something that should be federal.
What they had tried to do.
The Republicans are the ones that want to ban abortion. Why don't you be honest about it?
Oh no, as far as Republicans being against abortion, that's definitely true. But that's different from saying it's on a federal level. And this is why, like, Josie made a little bit of a mistake here, where she opened up that doorway. I think that she goes by the Redhead Libertarian. If you don't follow her, if you're not on X, you're not going to know who she is. It's unlikely you'll know who she is. I happen to like her, and I think that she's fairly intelligent. Every once in a while, I think that she sort of will express herself in a way that opens her up for more attack than is necessary. And this is an example of it here. And like I said, I don't be a fan of her work overall, but in this instance, it should have just been like, this is a state issue. That's what Dobbs basically said. I don't know why this is even relevant to a federal race. This is not relevant to a federal race at all.
Why don't you be honest about it? You want to ban abortion? You want to take away women's rights?
Why don't you be honest
Well, let's hear Tatum come after Cenk
about it? Republicans are not banning
That's a fact.
abortions. That's not a fact. Abortions.
They are in red states.
First of all, Donald Trump.
That's a 100% fact.
Donald J. Trump at his rally, which ticked me off because I want abortions to be banned. But Donald Trump said he's okay with abortion pills sent through mail. That's 2/3 of all abortions are done through abortion pills. He said it was fine. The Supreme Court ruled that was fine. Donald Trump said he's okay with abortion up to 15 weeks. Where on the platform of the Republican Party do you see Republicans banning abortions?
Literally, Georgia has an abortion ban at 6 weeks. The idea
That's not the point. The point. So then go to Georgia. Fight it in Georgia. What is wrong with you? Yeah, that's true. Okay. There are certain states which ban it even sooner than that. Yeah, okay, fine. So fight it in Georgia. That's not a federal issue. It's got nothing to do with Kamala Harris or Trump.
Somebody be okay with something in the mail. It's not relevant.
Let me bring in. Hang on. Don't talk over each other. But hang on. Let me bring in Destiny to respond to that question.
Yeah,
That's Piers saying, I haven't spoken in quite a while here. Let me just remind everyone I'm still here.
President signaling that he might be okay with a thing at this point is irrelevant. Roe v. Wade was overturned. The idea that this court cares about legislating from the bench when they've granted the president criminal immunity, which is something that is completely unfounded in any.
Completely. Oh, this is what I love when Destiny tries pretending he understands something about the law. Completely unfounded.
Any part historically of our legislative tradition of.
Really? Then why was no one ever prosecuted before? You think none of them ever committed any crimes? Really? Really? Okay. You think Bush didn't commit any crimes? Why wasn't he prosecuted? Everyone's always screaming, Bush lied, kids died. Why wasn't he prosecuted? Why wasn't he prosecuted? Tell me why. Oh, you don't really have an answer for that, do you? It's just except for everyone understood immunity. The dude lied and got us into a war. Bush lied, kids died. Was he prosecuted? No, not at all. Everything when Clinton committed perjury, prosecuted? No. Why not? Immunity. Over and over again. You go back through history, I'm sure going back centuries, and find instances where presidents committed crimes. So you're saying without historical precedent? No, it was such a widely accepted principle that no one even bothered challenging it. That's what it was. It was so broadly understood that no prosecutor had the audacity to think, oh, I have a right to try prosecuting the president.
Our judicial tradition or in the Constitution.
And the Constitution expressly says that. You see, you're wrong on that also. That's the whole impeachment thing, the whole impeachment clause.
The idea that the president might signal that he's okay with abortion pills sent through the mail doesn't matter if a state now has the ability to heavily restrict or outright ban abortion. And that's
why not? Then go pass a law there. You know, they love saying how abortion is so widely accepted. Everyone across the country loves abortion. Why is it that these states aren't passing abortion laws? Everyone's saying, oh, it's the most popular thing in the world. Everyone understands. Everyone's pro-life. Then why would there be any state legislatures which manage to ban it?
The idea that Republicans don't want to ban abortion, that's...
The people
I don't
have
even
the right
know who
to
you're
vote.
talking to right now. That's great. But what Jen said was absolutely correct. What Jen said was correct. If you go and look at the restrictive abortion laws that exist throughout the country right now, they are far more restrictive in Republican states. And some of them, you might be pregnant, you're not even going to know. And by the time you realize you're pregnant, it's already banned for you to get an abortion.
We live in a Republican.
JD Vance was talking about the people without children.
Let me just play a clip. I want to play a clip because well, we talked about Supreme Court and reverting rights to states and so on. Let's play a clip. This is from Joe Biden's speech after 60 years of a civil rights bill. It was a bit rambling. I listened to it. It didn't make sense, a lot of it. It was a typical...
I'm just pausing at some chats that have been piling up here. Found Joe by accident. Glad I did. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. So glad you did, too. I think I got that one already before. Please remember, there's not a colon. Joe's not a leader. I can't do another 30 days in the tunnels. Joe's wrath. My wrath is very much overstated. It's very, very much overstated. I think I have to get those other two. Look at over there. We'll do a quick check around. Well, I don't want to fall behind. I hate falling behind. Am I good here?
Yeah. I'm afraid, rather sad delivery by the president, but he made this point about the Supreme Court.
And most recently and most shockingly, the Supreme Court established in Trump versus the United States a dangerous precedent. They ruled, as you know, that the President of the United States has immunity for potential crimes he may have committed while in office. Immunity.
As if it's so shocking. As if it's so shocking.
This nation was founded on the principle there are no kings in America.
Oh my God.
Each of us is equal before the law.
So stupid.
All right, Officer Tatum, the problem looking at it from the outside is that when you have, as Donald Trump found in his last term of office, the ability to pack the court with 3 of your own in one term, it does lead.
That's not packing the court. No, packing the court is adding justices so you can throw people in there. That's packing the court. He happened to have the good fortune that during 4 years he had 3 appointments. But that's not packing the court.
To an imbalance which you would be crying foul about if it was the other way around. What is the answer to that?
No, I wouldn't be foul. I wouldn't be crying foul about it if the other way was around. I mean, if the roles were reversed, because I understand the process and I understand the way the government works. If there's a Republican in office and the seats are open, the Republican can get someone into that position. And if the Democrats can do the same thing, if somehow Clarence Thomas is timed out when there's a Democrat in office, they're going to put a Democrat in his place. And if somehow someone else dies that's a Republican on the Supreme Court, they're going to put
a weird, creepy dude is like making his faces. Is that what part of that is wrong?
Put another Democrat in. That'll be 2 Democrats on the Supreme Court. It's just so happened to be timing. And that's why presidential elections are so important. And that's why they're so consequential. I think that the crazy thing is that out of one side of the mouth, the left cry that the Supreme Court is doing the right thing by blocking all of Trump's advances that the election was stolen. But now all of a sudden they're ruling in his favor. Make your mind up. If they're supporting Trump, then they would have allowed the election interference, election fraud cases to go straight through. They would have ruled on it in Trump's favor, but they didn't. They didn't even look at it. So I think the Supreme Court is balanced and is fair. They just don't like the fact that people are leaning more conservative. I don't like everything the Supreme Court does, but it's fair and balanced and co-equal branches of the government.
Should there be
term limits?
Well said.
Well, if we're going to do term limits for Supreme Court, let's do term limits in the House and Senate, and I'll be totally okay with that.
I want to move on. Let me discuss that at length.
They don't have terms at all. There's no terms. But I guess they would have, like, you know, they would create terms. That would be like a 1 term of 20 years or whatever it is.
Move on to Trump's latest interview with Laura Ingraham at Fox News, in which he said this about Kamala Harris.
She got rid of the laugh. I noticed I haven't seen that crazy laugh that she's crazy. That laugh, that's the laugh of a crazy person. But I noticed that she's not using that laugh anymore. Somebody convinced her, don't laugh, just don't laugh. Don't laugh under any circumstances because
I like laughter, but sometimes.
Not her laughter.
Now, Tatum.
I didn't even watch that interview yet. I haven't seen that interview yet. That's really funny. That's really funny. I had no idea that he came after her for a laugh. No one told me. Why didn't you guys tell me? Why didn't you guys? No one even told me. I haven't even seen that yet. Oh my gosh, that's great.
What do you make of that? I mean, Kamala Harris does have a weird laugh. There's no doubt about it. She's labeling Trump and JD Vance as a bunch of weirdos too. Everyone's calling each other crazy, weird, whatever. What they're not debating, it seems to me much, is policy. Why is it descended into kind of just pathetic name calling?
Because the left is terrified of policy.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't like when politicians do this because it's pointless for the American people. Like in a conversation where Donald Trump may want to interject that's fine. But like you said, it does nothing for the political conversation. No one, now I'll say this, I'm not going to say no one cares because I think it's a negative that Kamala Harris does have a weird laugh. I think it does turn people off to her. But I think it has zero value in a person going to the grocery store and trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. So Donald Trump mentioning that is completely pointless. And I think it doesn't add any value. But I didn't listen to the full conversation, and I don't know if it was just a side note that he interjected. But I think the conversation needs to be focused more on policy and how we're going to turn around America and make it better for everybody that live here.
I agree with that completely. 100%. It's so obvious it shouldn't have to be said. Pierce, does the Prime Minister of England have immunity from his official actions? I don't know. That's an interesting question. Does he? I assume from your question that he does. Now I gotta check that out. English. Oh, yeah, they do. Interesting. Parliamentary immunity, a grant of full immunity from legal prosecution, both civil and criminal. And, of course, the execution of their official duties. These won't be found competent. Yeah, it's true. I accidentally put you in the newsfeed, in your newsfeed on Locals, Joe. Please find it there. Okay. I'll try. What's the difference between hacking and hijacking something? I don't really understand the question, John. I think hijacking is taking over completely as opposed to hacking where you're sort of like influencing. I mean, hacking could become hijacking, but I don't think it always is. Like you can hack into a system, but not overturn the entire system. Hijacking implies you're taking over the entire thing. Not really sure of the. I'm not really sure how that's relevant. No kidding. I don't know where this is coming from, but that's how I would say hijacking is more of a global takeover.
Okay, and Cheng, on this separate rising thing about white dudes backing Kamala Harris, do you feel entirely comfortable with this? We've actually got the actual dude saying it. Let's take a listen to him.
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
I was brought to the party not so much as being white, and I certainly am, but because I'm a dude, you know. So a friend sent me this email today with your hat on there, and I said, oh, I gotta have one of those. I qualify, man. I'm white, I'm a dude, and I'm for Harris.
Well, that's sad.
Check this white dude thing. Do you feel comfortable with this?
No, I don't think it's good politics. And I don't think it's necessary at all. So let's stop playing identity.
I do like the fact that Democrats are finally coming out and saying, no black people are allowed. This is just white dudes. It's just white dudes. They're so confused. They're so confused. They're so confused.
Politics. So Kamala Harris and the Democrats don't have to say, hey, you should vote for her because she's a black woman. Everybody already knows she's a black woman, so don't worry about it. You should
no, she's not black.
Let the Republicans play identity politics, and when they attack her for being a woman, which they can't help themselves, they do nonstop.
No one cares that she's a woman. Nobody's cared.
Then the Democrats gain. And
Look at Tatum's face. Look at his face. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Attack her for being black, then the Democrats gain. So stop.
No, they're not attacking for being black. They're saying she's not black, and that's supposedly a slur somehow. I don't know how. That would explain a lot.
Stop all this stuff about racial stuff from the Democratic side. Let the Republicans do it to their detriment.
Okay,
Republicans have never attacked her.
How worried? Okay, Officer Tatum, respond to that first, and I'll come to Destiny.
No, I think it's superfluous conversations being had. The Republicans have never attacked her for being a woman. They attacked her because she's incompetent. And that's the argument that has been going on and on and on. She's an incompetent person. It doesn't matter if she's a woman. It doesn't matter if she's black. Nobody cares. The fact of the matter is she's a failing vice president. She's terrible. She was terrible when she ran for president. She's terrible as the vice president. She adds no value to the political realm. She has no conversations about what she can do to better America. The woman is just literally selected as the VP because she was a black woman by the Democrats. And that's not going to bode well when it comes to the policies that people need to see to make a difference in America. Yep. Nobody I know is supporting Democrats now because Kamala Harris is in a position of power.
Okay, well,
it's very
Destiny, Elon Musk.
He's doing it right there.
Hang on. I have a specific question. Elon Musk actually reposted on X a doctored video featuring Kamala Harris. Her voice had been doctored by AI. Let's take a look at the clip first of all.
I, Kamala Harris.
He's like, I have a good clip here I want to share with you. Not really on target, not really on point, but I've been meaning to pull this up, so let me just shove this in here.
You're a Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist.
Now, a number of issues from that. One is, on one level, it's just quite funny. It's a joke. It's a parody. But secondly, that video has now been seen 128 million times on Elon Musk's X account. He said, "This is amazing," with a laughing emoji. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, told Musk to take it down, to which Musk replied, "I checked with renowned world authority, Professor Sug on these nuts." And, and he said, "Parody is legal in America."
I didn't see that. Oh my God, that's so good. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's so based. When did he become so based? Oh my God, that is so good. That is so good. Professor Simon. I want to hear that again. That is so good.
To which Musk replied, "I checked with renowned world authority, Professor Sug on these nuts." And, and he said, "Parody is legal in America," which is a typical Elon Musk response. Dessa, you're not laughing. Do you not find any of this funny?
Keep in mind, no, at this point, no, I'm sorry. Just to keep in mind, okay, when the Twitter files were released, there was exactly one person from one administration that literally sent in a request for a tweet to be removed from a comedian lady because she called Trump a pussy-ass bitch, and that was Donald Trump. That is the only time we've seen a personal request for a tweet to be removed because they were unhappy with the language that was being used.
What are you talking about? There's literally thousands. He's so desperate to gaslight. There were so many thousands of tweets and people who were shut down that a district court judge referred to it as the worst abuse of First Amendment rights in American history. And you're saying there was literally one tweet?
That came from Donald Trump. So to turn around and be like, "Oh, it's so funny when they make fun of our side." Meanwhile, you got a guy who's talking about imprisoning Americans for burning the flag. Crazy. I thought Republicans were all about freedom of speech and the First Amendment. I just think that's absolutely hilarious. Also, I think
it's actually technically a law which was rejected. So it's not like it's like a crazy thought.
It's very funny that Republicans and conservatives in general, the people of Pizzagate and QAnon and all these crazy conspiracies, have in real time. This is like the conservative wet dream conspiracy. You have the richest man in the world from another country who bought the largest social media.
Now you're saying he's not American? I thought you love illegal immigrants. I don't understand. He's a legal immigrant. Is that the problem? Is that he's a legal immigrant? You're calling him from another country? He's an American. The hell, he says, as American as you are, Frico.
Media platform for media news distribution. He made it private. He took it private, doesn't do reporting on anything anymore, and is now openly reposting AI deepfake images of left-wing candidates. Like, holy shit. It's like everything they accused George Soros of doing, except it's actually out in the open and they're actually doing it. They're all
because it's obviously parody. It's obviously parody. But your sense of humor died the day that Trump was shot.
Laughing about
that bullet which grazed his ear destroyed your sense of humor
about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, because it's
funny,
a parody.
Like in a depressing kind of way.
Let me ask.
It's a parody like when Snoop Dogg does a music video and Donald Trump is in it and Republicans are losing their mind over, "Oh my God, it was a mock assassination." Yeah, parody. Come on.
Well, yeah, they shot him in the head in the video. They shot him in the head.
Let me ask. Before we move on to all things Olympics, I want to talk to Cenk quickly. We've talked a lot, Cenk, in this whole campaign about what may present a proper threat to Donald Trump. And it seems to me that if you look at the first week of Kamala Harris, all right, it's been a coronation. Many people are concerned about the way it's happened, everything else. But the money is absolutely pouring in for her, $200 million plus in a week. She's exuding an air of a leader. I saw her with Netanyahu where she looked presidential. She made a sort of presidential sounding address, even though there is an actual president, Biden, who's still there. She's got a lot of momentum here. There's only 4 months to go. Can she ride that wave of momentum? We're seeing the gap closing in many of the polls. You're seeing the black gap, for example, the black vote gap closing.
I haven't seen this yet, but I'm sure he's going to say yes, which is wishful thinking on his part.
The Hispanic vote apparently closing as well. Is this just a honeymoon thing? Or are you looking at her and thinking, actually, you know what? She's got a chance here.
Yeah, it's both, Piers. First of all, to the Democrats out there who think that this is not going to be a roller coaster ride and we're just going to easily win, snap out of it. That is not a healthy way of thinking about it. It is very unlikely. The Republicans are really good at inventing issues, so they'll invent things to be outraged about. It'll hurt her, so there'll be
like the
there's
economy,
a lot more
like the
cycles.
border.
Having said that,
little issues.
Look, Piers, I was on your show many times saying we got to get rid of Biden, and if we do, we'll go from near 0% chance to at least a 50% chance of winning, and that is all the difference in the world, and that is where we are now. There was no question that it was the right thing to do, to push Biden out, to get a candidate that excites people. And the minute people saw someone who was not 98 years old, because both Biden and Trump are so old, so decrepit, the American people were like, oh my God, it turns out young, vibrant person who can speak is possible as our leader. So
really
that's why she's gotten this huge bump up.
Generous.
That part is real and will last. Whether she can then...
She hasn't answered a single question from a single reporter, even a softball. Not even a softball. Nothing.
Take that, build off of it, and win is a different issue.
Officer Tatum, are you worried at all about the fact it's no longer doddery old Joe, but a much more dynamic Kamala Harris who appears to be resonating?
Well, I wouldn't say that I'm worried, but I do think that they do have some leverage there. I mean, Joe Biden was so terrible, and that was an easy win for us. I was excited that he was falling off the rails. But the difference is that Kamala Harris watched him fall off the rails and defended him this entire time. The Democrats defended him. They said he was okay. They said nothing was wrong with him. And the crazy fact is that Democrats think it's appropriate that this man that's supposed to have all these great accomplishments can't even run for president again. And they think that he can still run the country. This is what Democrats are representing. And Kamala Harris, she's going to have a lot of momentum because she is younger, because it is a relief from a half-dead person running for office, but it's going to die because there's no substance there. You can only pour so much money into a person. You can only be hype about a woman because she's a woman and she's black and she's a minority. Get all these crazy women on the call.
Only so much lipstick.
You can only do it for so long. But then the American people are going to be looking at their bank accounts. They're going to be looking at the inflation. They're going to be looking at all these things that they already have problems with. They're going to be looking at immigration. And they're going to say, okay, now that all the fluff is over, what are you going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. And they're still, think about this, Pierce, they are still in the administration that's running the country right now. It's not over. They still have to run the country. And they're failing miserably. And so I don't think it's going to last enough when the rubber meets the road.
There you go. There you go. If you want to check out the entire clip, I'll share a link to that in the description. I'll do that now. So I'm totally going to forget otherwise. There's no chance I'm going to remember otherwise. Let me do that now. Let me do it. There we go. Controls. Check out my video details. This is all right, so it's in the description now if you want to watch the full thing. Barrett Boy says, off topic, no need to read online. What? Will you have you covered the Idaho 4? I plan to have my forensic science students discuss the case. Defense has entered change of venue motion. Would like your thoughts. So I haven't really been very into that case, but I actually, only because it's so far away and there's so much politics going on, but I do plan on getting into it as it becomes more hot. So no promises about short term, but in the longer term, certainly. As far as that motion for them to change venue, I don't want to promise that I'm going to end up covering that before it actually is decided. It really depends on a lot of different factors. So I'm not sure. That's really unfortunate. I wish I could give you a more definitive answer, but that's really the best I can do. Indian dudes for Kamala coming next. That would be great. Wouldn't that? I might not have known. The real question is, what are the penalties for digging tunnels without the proper permits in jolly old England? We should know this in case we go there. This is obviously something we're going to have to look into, because I definitely plan on going abroad at some point. I'm going to plan on bringing some diggers with me. I'm going to make sure that I have that fully vetted, so you know which permits have to be obtained before we actually engage in any sort of digging in across the pond. Remember the original post said it was parade by Mr. Reagan. It was Mr. Reagan who did it. He was very thrilled that Elon shared it out. I plan on having him on here. He follows me on Twitter. I plan on getting him on here. He sort of fell apart because his schedule is like 12 hours off from mine. I don't know where he's located, but he's very far away. I think he's in the Far East. Second debate, I'm not sure, because I always thought he was in California, but his timing is really rough. Second debate should be Fox. First was on Dems terms. It is. The second debate is supposed to be on September 4th, and I think it is on Fox. It's being hosted by Brett Baier. And that's what I saw earlier today. And then he said, in all the respects, it's going to be what it was supposed to be. And the Democrats were all screaming, he's afraid of Kamala. He's afraid. As if like he knew going in there that Biden would suck as much as he did, as much as he would. No one knew that. Nobody thought that Biden was going to be that talented. Wasn't afraid of Biden. Biden's far more effective. Has historically been a far more effective debater than Kamala Harris ever was. Joe, did you see a receipt that illegal immigrant left at the bodega? Her food stamp balance was $13,000. Her cash balance was $40,000. Oh my God. No, I didn't. No. It's unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. Marxists. All right. I'm a little afraid of this. There's a certain topic I'm a little afraid. The Planned Parenthood one, I'm really a little afraid of. I'm not going to kid you. I'm a little afraid of this one. A little afraid. A little afraid. I'm not going to kid you. All right, I'm going to do it. What the hell? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm a little afraid. Before I get off of Kamala, though. Got it? I want to share with you two things real quick. Two things that I haven't shared on this channel before. I don't remember seeing this one before, although you might have, but I thought this was funny. I promised 4 stories and some funny. The funny is Kamala. Yeah.
So you're now no longer are you?
This is Kamala explaining what it is to save files in the cloud. So she's going to walk you through what it means now to save files in the cloud.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then
Files are on a laptop? They're on a lap? Really?
for up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? It's no longer.
And when it rains, that's how they get all those leaks that come. That's why they call it leaks. Whenever someone has private files that get exposed to the public, it's called leaks, because it's like the clouds rain down and then it leaks and people have access to those files because it's up in the clouds. It's that's what's happening here.
This cloud that exists above us, right? It's no longer in a physical place. So you're now no longer.
There's no physical place that's storing it. It's up in the ozone layer. Part of the problem with global warming is that all the files that are being stored in clouds, like now, because it gets hot, so the clouds are forced to rain, and that's why there's all these file leaks that happen. So like the whole WikiLeaks thing, that was because of global warming. Because global warming heated up the clouds where all these files that used to be stored in a cabinet, locked in a cabinet in your basement, are now up in the sky. And now because of global warming, so they rain down, and that's where WikiLeaks was invented. So Vote for me for president. I'm your next president. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then there was this with Michael Malice, which was also pretty funny.
Right. If you're going after Officer Harris, you're either racist or sexist or ableist.
Right.
So they will use
ableist.
Yeah, because she's a retard. She's literally retarded. I mean, Ukraine is a country in Europe, and Russia is another country and a powerful country, and Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's wrong.
What's really important?
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
I think of her as America's wine mom because bitch seems like she's 3 deep by noon, and she's got the 3 phases of wine mom. She's got happy drunk. Oh my God, this cereal's got a rabbit on it. It's so great. Cackling, cackling, cackling.
Look at my face! Oh my God, I love it. Oh wow.
You can't tell me she's not drunk. You can't.
Look at the bus. Wheels on the bus. Go round and round.
She doesn't even know. She's so like that's not even the tune.
Then there is trying to drunk at work, where you're trying to make sense, but you don't. Space is around us all and unites us all and inspires us all.
Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
Space is exciting. It spurs our imaginations, and it forces us to ask big questions.
Big questions? What kind of big questions?
Space, it affects us all, and it connects us all.
And then there's I'm being stern so you don't realize how plastered I am, and I'm making a point. Dr. Little Girl was me. Now I'm going to go upstairs and don't knock on the door because I'm going to pass out. So,
And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. That
was great. That is so great. America's wine mom. So great. Anyway, I thought you guys would appreciate that. I thought you guys might appreciate that, which is why I figured I'd share a little bit. A little lighthearted moment courtesy of Michael Malice. Very smart guy, Michael Malice. She is very profound. This is her true form sense that many use iCloud or MS Drive that keep file both local and on cloud, but her idea of cloud is bad, like they're in the sky. Yeah. Yeah. Manila folder clouds are causing that. See that? I didn't think of that. Manila folder files. Oh my God, she thinks she's smart. She definitely thinks she's smart, and it's like when she talks down to you. That whole thing, you know, when she's like trying to explain it to you, when she seems like the stupidest person in the room. It's just an astonishing thing. It's really an astonishing thing. Curious Angel, it was her cocaine. That would explain it. It was her cocaine in the White House. I like it. I like it. That actually explains a lot. Because to me, that she seems more high than Winebox. It's easy to fall to the Winebox thing, but she seems like she's high. Space connects us all. It makes us ask big questions. To me, she seems high. And I wouldn't be surprised if she is. I wouldn't be remotely surprised. All right. I'm gonna try and push a little further. I told you I was going to share with you a fraud. This guy is actually on my side of the aisle. I don't know who he is. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know how this ended up in my video feed. I don't know how I saw this, but I saw the headline. I saw what he called his video, and I was like, maybe I missed something. Maybe I need to know about this. And I'm watching this video, and by the time it was done, I was like, this guy's a fraud. This guy's a total fraud. He is a total fraud. This is the, and I'm referring to, and I'm sorry, I don't know if all his videos are like this. I've only seen one. Maybe some of you guys know him, because I know, like, look, I got a couple thousand you watching across different platforms, and I understand it's possible that maybe, some of you know him and like him. Tell me this guy is not pure clickbait. Because I watched this, and after it was over, I felt used, I felt dirty, and I felt angry. And this stupid video from this stupid guy got 680,000 views, and every view is a lie. Every one of them. First and foremost, he barely adds any content of his own. He's literally just playing someone else's stuff and barely talks at all. But second of all, the headline here is just crap. I mean, this is utter crap, and I see this, and I get really mad. Because I don't like people grifting from my audience. And I feel as if some of you might be watching this guy, Michael Duffy. His thing is called E. Jean Carroll facing jail time. Jail time, in all caps. Facing jail time after Trump accusations backfire. E. Jean Carroll facing jail time. That's what this guy wrote here. Facing jail time, as in criminal charges, is what she's facing right now. Because her accusations backfire. I was like, oh, wow, this is really interesting. I need to watch this. Yeah, so Mayo dude over here, which the Mayo, I think, is actually pretty funny having the Mayo behind him. Like, I'm so Mayo. But I don't know what's with the jar of Mayo. I don't know what's with the jar of Mayo. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, Michael Duffy, 680,000 views of this nonsense. And we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it because I want you to see what crap this is. You tell me where we see E. Jean Carroll potentially facing jail time. Because this was something I was very curious about. I was like, oh, wow, she really might get someone filing charges against her? Really? In New York? That's crazy. All right, let's watch your video.
E. Jean Carroll is now facing jail time as her false allegations are coming to light. Y'all got to check this out.
Trump has been making comments about.
So that's what he spoke for under 10 seconds so far. And we'll see where he next talks.
E. Jean Carroll. Some believe he's trying to goad her into another lawsuit. It's possible.
Now, I don't know anything about Doug in Exile. I don't know, and I'm not trashing Doug in Exile at all. I don't know anything about him. Some of you may watch Doug in Exile. I don't know. But I don't know that his video labels it as her facing jail time.
Well, we got an article over at Newsweek that talks about this breakthrough, this recent quote from Trump on her when he was on the Dr. Phil show. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of why we're happy is because though E. Jean Carroll got Trump for $83 million, he doesn't back down. He doesn't stop. And he's going to win. Here's the article on Newsweek. Donald Trump may be trying to exhaust E. Jean Carroll, says a legal analysis. We approve of this, of course. This is how lawfare is fought. And you have to hold your ground. I saw this. That's one of the things I love about Clarence Thomas. He never let people tell lies about him. Former President Donald Trump's repeated attacks against writer E. Jean Carroll may be an attempt to exhaust her in the legal realm, according to former federal prosecutor and legal analyst Barbara McQuaid.
This is all civil suit. This is all civil suit. So Trump's going after her civilly.
Carroll, a former Elle magazine columnist, has successfully sued Trump twice over her allegations that he did something to her in a Manhattan department store changing room in the mid-1990s, even though she cannot remember the exact date. So they're going like, oh, sometime in the mid-1990s.
Does it bother anyone?
Okay, so now we're a minute and a half in. So you basically let him go for 100 minute 20, and now he's going to give his thoughts here. Walk us through how this is criminal.
She got $83 million from Donald Trump. And I know in civil suits, you need a less burden of proof to show that someone actually committed a crime. But still, I don't believe her story. I don't think most Americans believe her story. So I respect what Donald Trump's doing. He lost that $83 million suit, but he's coming back and he's appealing that because the truth really is on his side.
Continued to say she was lying, leading her to sue him for defamation. A jury in January ordered him to pay $83 million in damages for the defamation lawsuit, which was ridiculous. She did not make $83 million. And his defamation and the damages too, the defamation did not cause her to lose income. She had no income or very little income. The most income she's getting right now is because because she sued Donald Trump. He has said he plans to appeal this verdict. Good. Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee.
Again, all this is civil suit. There's no ending up in jail. There's no criminal charges, no discussion of criminal charges.
He has now opened himself up to another defamation lawsuit from Carol after claiming he never met her and calling her assault story, quote, fictional during an interview with Newsmax on Tuesday. That was just this week. That's the second quote that he made against her. Quote, "This is a terrible thing that's happening. Giving a woman that I have no idea other than the fact that she has a picture taken many, many years ago. I've never met this woman," Trump said. "I don't know this woman, and I'm supposed to pay a ridiculous amount of money for a fictional story?" So that's what he claims. And then here's McQuaid told Newsweek on Wednesday that Trump's comments, quote, exposed him to yet another defamation suit based on his false claim, unquote. My only question to you in the chat, is this intentional by Trump? He could be quiet and we all know what he thinks, but he deliberately goes out and is saying this in public.
I'm still waiting for this dude to say anything. Michael. And where's the criminality?
Is it to goad her into another lawsuit? Quote, "I don't know that Carol has any option other than to keep suing him. Perhaps he seeks to exhaust her, but she seems determined to hold him accountable," unquote. And I just say, they think his intention is to get her to sue him, but what if his intention is just to tell the truth and to keep standing by his original statement? McQuaid added this could become, quote, "a battle of wills," unquote, and that Carol, quote, "seems willing to hold Trump accountable for each act of defiance." And this is ridiculous.
Trump is a very highly intelligent person.
All right, now we're back to Michael talking. Okay, tell us, walk us through the criminality here.
I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Yes, is what he is saying the truth and he just wants to preach the truth? Yes, absolutely. But he wouldn't be stupid about it. If he has to pay $83 million every single time he lies, I think he's got a plan behind this. He wants to exhaust her with legal fees. And at the end of the day, I don't think she's going to see a penny of that $83 million because it's just a fabrication. It is not the truth. Just think about the press.
That's not how civil judgments work. The judgment's there.
That was said. If you're able to sue people for $83 million and you've never met them in your life, where is that going to leave our legal system?
Say this now. And if she, well, I'll get into the article, but if she sues him for defamation this time, how much money did she lose this time in just 3 months? Is it another 100?
I hate to tell you this, Doug. It's really a matter of what the judge allows at the end of the day, unfortunately.
50 million. Michael McAuliffe, a former federal prosecutor and former elected state attorney, told Newsweek on Wednesday that Trump has made a, quote, calculation about these attacks. Now, that's an accusation. He thinks this is deliberate. Quote, Donald Trump has made a calculation that the more out of bounds his behavior is to Carol and the defamation cases, the better it is for him politically. Now, I'm going to continue that quote in a second, but that is entirely true. That the more he talks about her, it could very much benefit him politically.
And in theory, to be realistic, a judge in New York might say, I think he's doing this intentional for his political benefit, and that's why I'm going to punish him harder. That's just the reality. A judge could do that.
Fine. Doesn't mean it's immoral. Doesn't mean it's wrong. I'll continue the quote. That is, the more legal proceedings that are brought against him for insulting her and denying what a jury and judge has already found to be true, allegedly, the more he's a martyr to his base. Now,
and in New York, they definitely, the lefties in New York definitely think that that's what's happening here. That he's trying to play into being a martyr, and that's why. And it's ironic because it sort of keeps them between a rock and a hard place. Because do we want to actually play into making him a martyr, or do we want to hit it? And in which case, if we don't want to do that, we shouldn't hit him with the judgment. On the other hand, we hate him, so we want to hit him with the judgment, and we want to punish him and teach him not to do this. So it's like sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, which is exactly the problem they've had with all their stupid lawsuits, including the criminal charges. By the way, have you noticed any criminality discussed here by Doug in Exile? Because I haven't noticed it. Somehow, I don't know. Mitch over here seems to have noticed it, but I don't know what he's seeing. Tell us, Mitch. What's going on, Mitch?
It is true that Trump is a kind of martyr if he's telling the truth. It is true that if the campaign is about Trump versus a weaponized Democrat government against him, against lawfare, then it is a good move to goad her into a lawsuit by expressing his being free with his statements and continuing to say he's innocent. Former federal prosecutor,
yes,
Nehemiah,
I'm angry.
Rahimi,
of course I'm angry. Why would I be angry? This is ridiculous. Doug in Exile's reading an article. This guy's watching him read an article, adds in 4 things, puts in a BS clickbait title. And it's like, and so many people, I just like, it makes me like, I don't know, what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? Doesn't make any sense. I guess I'm wearing the same shirt as this dude. I didn't think about that. Pretty much the same shirt. Yeah.
Told Newsweek Trump's comments subject him to another defamation lawsuit. It's already been established that he knows her and the assault happened. Now, that has not been established. A jury said that, but it doesn't mean it actually happened. So it would just be a question of more damages for this newest statement. And what are those damages? I mean, what is she worth now in the last couple of months? How has what he has said against her harmed her career? It hasn't. She has her fans. Trump has his. He said punitive damages. Quote,
did anyone?
By the way, I do like Doug. I like Doug. I like Doug's work on this. I think he does a good job of sort of breaking, pausing appropriately and explaining it.
Woman was before Donald Trump. Is she some like major icon in fashion or something? Because I have genuinely no idea who this woman is. I've only seen a couple interviews of her, and she seems kind of out there. She's saying the most outrageous.
Where's the criminality?
Just claims against Donald Trump that is totally out of his character. The thing is, perhaps he is right. Perhaps Donald Trump does not care about paying this money as long as it helps him politically. Because at the end of the day, every single president that has taken office has increased their net worth exponentially, except for one man, Donald Trump. He gets into office, I believe his net worth went down at least $1 billion. What does that tell you? He doesn't care about his personal finances. More so, he cares about the future of America. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation.
My thoughts are he's not facing jail time.
Or is there actual factual backing behind it? Or this is all going to go away in the appellate's division? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash a like, comment, subscribe. I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Nothing in this is facing jail time. There's no talk of criminality. And that's why I was upset with this. That's why I was like, I can't even believe this. I felt used. He used me. He used my curiosity about whether or not she could go to jail. And all of a sudden it's like, no, there's not even an attempt to try and justify this headline. This is complete crap. It's a complete lie. And it's grifting off of you. It's grifting off of me. It's grifting off all of us. It's grifting. Gets me mad. No integrity. Integrity is just dead. It's dead. It's dead. Ugh. I am still trying to figure out the algo. I am. It's been 5 hours. Working on some of these 2,000 views. And what's the name? This is why I don't create videos. This is why I don't. Because clickbait works. Clickbait works. And I don't clickbait. I refuse to clickbait. Here's my new guilty pleasure weekly freak show. It has become that. He has become a little bit, I didn't even think of it, but he really has become a little bit like a political, like Maury type of thing. Like you just expect, you picture in the audience, like people in the background screaming, Maury, Maury, more, like that's right. It is. It's a weekly freak show. It is. I hadn't thought of that. But like with faces as opposed to some random trailer trash dude. I never thought of that before. Thank you, Dread Clown, for pointing that out. Joe Biden is the epitome of MSM brainwashing. Kamala is the encore. I think it's a fair way of sizing it up. Yeah, pretty much right there. Does the content or the view count upset you more? Both. The view count would bother me less, probably, if not for the fact that I spent 5 hours on a video last week, which was designed to be artistic. It was an artistic statement. It was an artistic statement about how mainstream media, the video I'm referring to, I don't mind, I'll share with you here. But the video, this is a video I made last week. The video that I shared was basically, I was trying to show how mainstream media is the same freaks doing the same stupid freaky dance. That was the point to the video, which has been seen like, I don't know, 2,000 times. So yeah, I think that's why the views bugged me. 680,000 views. The guy said nothing and lied, and he got it because of clickbait. And it makes me feel like I don't want to create videos. This is why I don't want to create videos. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But then I'm like, I really should do it. So I could clip my own stuff, like dice it up, and sort of just label it. So take a segment that I do, and do that. I don't know. Let me find it here. I see my subs going down from YouTube, and I get mad. It makes me mad. It's like, why am I mean, it sort of makes you feel like there's a frustration that you feel in it. You don't understand that? Gets me annoyed. I'm like, I don't know. Makes you also feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Like that, I don't understand my own industry. I mean, I do understand it. That's the thing. I know it's the clickbait. Title of like, oh, E. Jean Carroll might go to jail. I fell for it. I'm too real with y'all. This is the video.
Some of what he and his
I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. It's only a 3-minute video.
some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's where they are.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance. Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that it's like basically almost like these guys are calling the people dancing. That was Jill Biden's White House Christmas thing that she created. And it's like no one thought that was weird. You know what's weird? J.D. Vance is weird.
It's not. I mean, it's quite weird. It's just plain weird.
I mean, what the hell is that? What is that? Anyway, thanks. Let me cheer myself up. No, that's not gonna. Planned Parenthood's not gonna cheer me up. Planned Parenthood's not gonna cheer me up. Where was I? But I did want to share with you Planned Parenthood. Let's do that. Here it is. I'm going to warn you that some of this conversation is. I'm just wondering if I know this is going to make me go yellow. I know it's going to make me go yellow. I'm thinking about ending YouTube because YouTube's going to just freak out that I'm sharing this. This is basically it's a behind the scenes conversation where you have a representative from Planned Parenthood who's basically trying to sell liver. We'll put it like that. Trying to sell liver. And part of me is saying to myself, I got a feeling YouTube is going to hit me hard over the head for this. I think they will. Yeah, I'm going to dump YouTube. I mean, I think Real Patriot Party here has it right. I think I'm going to dump YouTube at this point. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to dump YouTube. I'm going to share this over on Rumble. I'll give you guys the link if you want to come over to Rumble. That's the way to do this. That's the way we're going to do this. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I'll also put it in the description in YouTube. That's what we're going to do. So for YouTube, it's 3 stories. It's 3 stories on a lap. But for Rumble, it's 4. I pinned the message there on YouTube chat, and I'm also, if you're watching after the show, I'll put the Rumble link. I'll put the Rumble link in the description. If you're watching on Rumble after the fact, you basically want to jump to the Rumble video, which is now in the description. And it's roughly, I'll say, it's roughly an hour and 35 minutes in. So that's the way we're going to do this. Let me just pull up the last chats here that I have here. Clickbait doesn't work except in those who have a brain. I never watch again if I find clickbait. Don't go there. Well, I'm never going to watch that dude again also. But I was angry that I spent 8 minutes waiting for him to tell me the criminality, and it never came. Doug Tenaple made the Earthworm Jim game. What is? I don't know what that is. So you're giving him. I think what you're doing here is you're giving him the benefit of the doubt that he hasn't. He's just got the law wrong, and that he's assigning criminality. That's how I'm reading your chat here. I don't know. I think that that's intentional. There's no way someone can watch that video and think that there's criminality here, that she might go to jail. Joe, you can do what Gavea does. Take his live stream, break some up into smaller videos based on the topic. And that's what I was thinking about. That's what I was referring to. And I have no problem with Robert Gavea doing that. The dude's creating phenomenal content, and he's trying to make it into bite-sized pieces. And I might do that. I don't know. Starving artist is a thing. I like this vid, but yeah. Thank you so much. You're so kind. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up over here. If you want to watch on Rumble, I am going to cover the 4th story over on Rumble. I am going to wrap up on YouTube because YouTube is asso. No, it's play on how many X to screw a light bulb. Oh, okay. So I missed the whole thing. Sorry about that. All right. So head on over to Rumble, and that's where I'm going to cover the 4th story, which deals with Planned Parenthood and them basically trying to buy liver or sell liver. Planned Parenthood is now selling liver at a butcher shop near you. Anyway, those of you on YouTube, I thank you for joining me. And I'm going to say to you, I'll see you all tomorrow. Till then on YouTube, good night and Godspeed.